Hi there, welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. In today's show, a look at land development after bauxite mining, plus how to prevent heart problems, and later, road improvement works on Marcus Garvey Drive to give you a smooth ride into downtown Kingston. Sit back and relax as we turn the pages of the magazine.
That can easily change if we allow the cutting of trees, forest fires, animal grazing, crop cultivation, or improper dwellings to destroy our forest reserves. Help preserve Jamaica's flora and fauna. If you know or suspect that someone is hurting our forest reserves, call 1-888-FORESTS. Remember, protecting our forests means sustaining our lives.
Even after bauxite areas have been mined, these lands can be properly restored to provide significant benefits to residents. While some have been developed for housing, most have been restored to become the platform for thriving farming communities that can provide food security and create wealth. Learn more in this feature.
Bauxite mining is a profitable venture for Jamaica and other countries, but the effect on the land can be rough. Locally, steps are being taken to restore mined-out lands to productive and profitable use. The mining communities of Wat Town and Tobolski in Water Valley St. Anne are shining examples of the possibilities. Scores of farmers there have been benefiting from water harvesting and greenhouse technology, allowing them to earn from the land.
I feel very good, and especially when we are reaping.
Yeah, feel good about it and thing, you know.
The citizens who have formed themselves into groups are setting the trend for other communities to follow. Communities like those that will benefit when Transport and Mining Minister Mike Henry fast-tracks the transfer of ownership of mined lands to citizens for housing, agriculture, and other purposes.
I'm going to see how much I can step in to work very closely to ensure the handing over back of land, the handing over back of titles, and how that can relate to increasing the agricultural output in relation to it.
That policy is encouraged by the level of agricultural production at Wat Town and Tobolski.
The people who are buying are happy with the product because the reliability is so important.
The farmers have been supplying the hotel and supermarket retail sectors and are overjoyed at what they have been able to achieve on mined lands which were previously idle.
This is an opportunity for all of us here in this community because we have never seen anything like this before. We produce tomato and sweet pepper, and we are doing well.
When you compare it with outdoor farming, this is actually a lot more than outside. Most of the young people want to come in now, so we would like some more roads to put up.
Mining pits on the properties have been transformed into rainwater harvesting ponds, which provide a reliable supply of water for the plants in the greenhouses. Over 8,000 kilograms of produce were supplied in the first 4 months of the project at Wat Town.
I want to tell you that we have 20 farmers that is benefit from this greenhouse. 20 farmers. And right now we are having a lot of tomato and sale. For now we have at least almost 17,000 pounds of tomato supplied. Well, the pepper, as you see it, we have order for the pepper, but it's only ripe pepper they are taking now.
Similar initiatives are also established at other communities affected by bauxite mining, including Schwallenberg and 9 Miles in St. Anne, Content, Blue Mountain and Rose Hill, Manchester, and Myersville in St. Elizabeth. They have all been supported financially and technically at an overall project cost of $243 million through the Jamaica Social Investment Fund's Rural Economic Development Initiative at the Jamaica Bauxite Institute.
I am very pleased to see that even though farmlands have been used for bauxite mining, a way out has been provided for the farmers.
Beneficiaries of restored bauxite lands are encouraged to make the best productive use of their properties. And with major developments in transportation on the horizon, the Transport and Mining Minister says farming on these lands will get more lucrative with easier access to rail, road, and air cargo transportation.
So what I want you to appreciate is the vision that I'm seeking to bring in the connectivity of farming, transport, and reaching there.
Supporting sustainable development of communities on lands which have been mined, promoting self-sustainability and integrating mined-out areas in national development.
If you're watching the JIS, you're always in the know when it comes to government information. Keep watching, keep informed, and tell your friends. JIS, your #1 source for government info.
Hey, I'm Matthew Gore, race car driver from Mobay. I'm here to talk about road safety in Jamaica today, and I would like to carry you to Hopewell and to Great River, which have been some accident hotspots recently. So come on, let's go. Okay, we're here at Great River, which is one of Mobay's hot accident spots. And one of the main reasons for this is because of speeding, going too fast. And there's a lot of straights and sudden corners that come up, like right now. So remember guys, we're not, race car drivers on the road. You have to do the speed limit and be safe. So just always remember to be safe.
As communities and townships expand and road traffic increases, government is making necessary improvements to the road network. The goal is to ensure safe and smooth traffic flow. One of the areas on which work is being done is Marcus Garvey Drive into downtown Kingston. We now look at that project and its potential impact on commuters.
Kingston remains the country's commercial mecca, and with the grand plans for the city's redevelopment, surely will come expanded business and traffic flowing in and out of a busier commercial district. So, upgrading work is underway on one of the main road corridors connecting downtown Kingston with westerly areas to ease traffic congestion for motorists.
The project is about improving the flow of traffic from east to west along Marcus Garvey Drive. Some years ago, when the Portmore Toll was constructed, a section of Marcus Garvey Drive was widened. This project is about improving from 4th Avenue, where that project had ended, up to Petron Street, which is roughly 2.4 kilometers.
A National Works Agency survey reveals that about 40,000 vehicles travel along this roadway in both directions daily. The latest improvement work, which started in March 2016, will see the targeted section of the road being upgraded from its current 4 lanes to 6. The drainage infrastructure is also being enhanced. This should significantly mitigate the likelihood of flooding caused by weather conditions. Undulations or sinking of road surface areas due to base failure is also expected to be a thing of the past.
We have improved the drainage significantly. We have widened the Tivoli Gully as well as the Shoemaker Gully. We have put in a number of new culverts. We have lifted the road in some sections by as much as 3 feet. We have put down a stabilized cement base, which is a concrete base.
Asphaltic concrete paving is being laid on top of the stabilized concrete base, making the road more durable. Realignment of a section of Marcus Garvey Drive should also see commuters having easier transition onto Harbour Street.
We are straightening that kink that's out at Water Lane, between Water Lane and Petron Street, so that persons can make a smooth transition from Marcus Garvey Drive onto Water Lane, onto Petron Street, and go about their business.
The design of the road is expected to give it a lifespan of up to 50 years, during which time no major fixing would be required.
It is of highway standard, which is the highest degree that we can go, And so it is on that basis, we are saying that the corridor will perform much better than it had been for many, many years.
Lanes going in opposite directions are being separated by a concrete median barrier. Necessary signage and road markings are also being installed. To keep pedestrians safe, sidewalks are being built on both sides of the road.
We are also going to be installing traffic signals at 6 intersections with pedestrian facilities, so pedestrians should have an easier time or easier access to get across this very busy corridor. We hope that persons will use the facilities that they are going to be provided with.
As part of the safety measures, the speed limit on Marcus Garvey Drive will remain at 50 kilometers per hour, which is in line with safety standards for roads in built-up areas. The construction is being done under the Major Infrastructure Development Program and is set to be completed by April 2017. The contractor is China Harbor Engineering Company, and the $20.5 million project is being financed through a concessionary loan from the Chinese government. The National Works Agency has oversight of the construction, which has provided work for more than 100 persons.
We have to ensure that the pavement thickness as planned is constructed. We have to ensure that the quality of the material that is planned is placed, and the quality of the workmanship.
Development of roads do drive social and economic development, and this road promises much with its improved capacity, linking the island's main commercial district, the Kingston Freeport Terminal, and the Norman Manley International Airport. The improvement should reduce traffic on the road, cut travel time, and offer other benefits that improve quality of life for persons who must use it.
Want to know the law pertaining to renting a house? What about the procedure if you're arrested? Or what is defined as corruption? Then click on the Ministry of Justice website. It has information on every law passed in Jamaica. The House of Parliament portal also has the more recent year's pieces of legislation. The sites are easy to search and the files are downloadable. Make access to justice your business. Know your rights. Know your numbers and control the keys to a healthier heart. Know the numbers for your blood pressure, cholesterol level, blood glucose level, and your weight and body mass index. Find out the risks they represent and what you need to do to stay healthy. Talk to your doctor and start making healthy lifestyle choices to prevent a heart attack or stroke.
So much of what we do as individuals affects the health of our hearts and eventually our overall health. How we eat, whether we smoke or exercise. We can prevent heart problems and stay healthier by doing the right things, as you'll find out in this next feature.
We often associate the heart with emotions of joy and feelings of affection. Its image, even its pounding beat, has a firm link to expressions of love. But despite this much fondness, we have a tendency, without much thought, to put our hearts at risk of damage, and as a result, our lives in danger. How? Simply through improper diet and inadequate physical activity. And based on a 2008 health and lifestyle survey, most Jamaicans are not eating enough fruits, vegetables, and peas and beans, and are not as physically active as they should be. Having identified those factors believed to be contributing to the current trend in heart disease, the #1 cause of death in Jamaica and the Caribbean, we must take the steps to avoid the dangers. Steps that include proper portion sizes and making healthy food choices. The Ministry of Health, in partnership with non-government organizations such as the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, is encouraging healthy eating habits to reduce the incidences of heart disease. The ministry has also developed a manual on physical activity for the workplace to ensure that even while we work, we can enjoy the benefits of exercise. Eating just the required amount of nutrients has been proven to provide a healthy heart and circulatory system, while overindulging gives rise to cardiovascular diseases such as hypertension. And it's been found that heart disease is more common among people with hypertension or high blood pressure.
What hypertension does to the vessels we call arteries, which carry blood to the tissues. It causes a thickening of the wall of the arteries, the pulse we feel. The heart is getting bigger. It should require more blood, and it does. But at the same time, that pressure is also limiting the blood flow by causing hardening and narrowing of the vessels. So it's small wonder then there comes a time when the heart is going to be, its function is going to be seriously jeopardized.
Chronic kidney disease, another potential complication of hypertension, is also a contributor to the development of heart diseases. Since these diseases, which are common in adults, have been found to have their genesis in childhood years, eating healthy must start with our children.
If we can have an influence on our children with the intake and guide them on how they eat, we will start preventing generation after generation. A healthy child is one who eats fruits and vegetables.
To maintain good health, nutritionists recommend including items from all the food groups in our diets in the appropriate portions.
Challenge yourself. Don't eat processed food. Let's eat more natural, wholesome food, where sodium is extremely low and natural. Let us try and eat one packaged food a day, but let us incorporate an average of 5 servings of fruit and vegetables. A serving is just an orange, just a banana, maybe 2 cups of lettuce, or 1 cup of pumpkin, or a cup of callaloo. That's all that a serving is.
Nutritionists also recommend that we avoid fried foods and instead broil, oven roast, and steam. It is important also to limit sugary beverages and foods with added sugars. The daily recommended intake for sugar is 6 teaspoons for women and 9 teaspoons for men. As it relates to sodium or table salt, our body needs less than 1 gram per day, and that's less than half a teaspoon. Measuring the quantity of sugar, salt, and fats requires us to be vigilant, reading labels and taking note of their quantity in each serving. In seeking to help Jamaicans make the shift from current unhealthy eating habits, the Ministry of Health has moved to provide food-based dietary guidelines. The availability of these guidelines and practical use by each of us is expected to result in a healthier nation with less non-communicable diseases. We'd be avoiding early deaths from heart conditions. So let's live more and love more. Let's make our food our medicine for good hearts and good health.
If you not get it, you will lose. Make your food be your medicine, your food. Blend up your carrot with the lettuce in a juice.
Have you been a victim of sexual assault? Have you been raped? It doesn't matter if you're a boy, girl, man, or woman. There's a team of personnel willing and capable to assist you on the path to justice. The Victim Services Division. They provide support of all kinds, such as free, confidential counseling and assistance to attend court. You may not forget the ordeal, but the healing process will be easier. In any 1 year, more than 10,000 people get assistance. Don't hang your head in shame. Being a victim of a sex crime is not your fault. Contact the Victim Services Division. They're based at 47E Old Hope Road, Kingston 5.
Hi there, I'm Simone Wolf with your JIS News of the Week. On Thursday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness received the final report from the CARICOM Review Commission from its chairman, former Prime Minister Bruce Golding. The commission was set up by Prime Minister Holness last year to examine Jamaica's role in CARICOM and how the regional bloc has impacted the country's development. The Prime Minister and the Cabinet are expected to review the resulting document and its recommendations prior to it being tabled in Parliament. On Tuesday, Prime Minister Holness announced that a new program would be introduced in the 2017-2018 financial year for persons opting for voluntary early retirement. He was making his contribution to the debate on the pension reform bill that's now before the House of Representatives.
We are not doing this to please the IMF. We are doing this to secure Jamaica. We must mature to the point where we can recognize clear and present danger and act as an independent parliament in our own best interest. And so this is why we are active, not because it is a structural benchmark or because it's a policy commitment. It is because we have made a commitment to the people of Jamaica that we will manage their affairs in the best possible way and for their best interest.
The Prime Minister was also in Trelawney this week, where he broke ground for the Excellence Oyster Bay at Blue Waters. He took the opportunity to assure tourism stakeholders that de-earmarking direct funding through the Tourism Enhancement Fund would not rob the sector of necessary resources.
It's not the intention of the government to plunder any reserves or any funds that have been gained by sector industries and interests. That's not the intention. But good fiscal management of the country's resources dictate that there has to be greater central direction. And there in no way could the government pursue a policy that would be inimical to the development of the tourism industry.
The 325-room Excellence Oyster Bay will be opened in the second half of 2018. On Wednesday, government officially launched its National Financial Inclusion Strategy, NFIS, to engage more individuals and businesses in a stable and secure formal financial sector.
The National Financial Inclusion Strategy is the government's commitment to creating the enabling environment which makes it easier for Jamaicans to save, to invest, to do business and obtain relevant financial products and information to empower themselves. Financial inclusion is about prosperity and sustainable economic growth.
Implementation of the strategy will be managed by the Financial Inclusion Steering Committee, which is chaired by the Governor of the Bank of Jamaica. That committee will report to the National Financial Inclusion Council, which is chaired by the Finance Minister. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton reported this week that the newly refurbished operating theatres at the Falmouth Hospital will soon be ready to take cases from the Cornwall Regional Hospital, which is still being affected by environmental health issues. The refurbished facilities have increased the hospital's capacity from 1 to 4 operating theatres.
Which is an extremely positive thing for a hospital with just about 100 beds or so. In addition to that, we have retrofitted and will now commission a new ICU unit that will have 3 pediatric and 3 adult cases at its maximum capacity, which again is very important for the post-operative care.
2 cell phone jammers at the Tower Street Adult Correctional Center have been restored and optimized to block incoming and outgoing calls from the maximum security facility. It's in keeping with government's latest moves to strengthen security in the nation's correctional facilities. Minister of State for National Security, Senator Pernell Charles Jr., says a special technology task force will also be implementing a strategy to identify more modern technology for phased rollout in all the correctional institutions. Jamaica now has a criminal bench book that will save judicial time in the preparation of summations and assist in the delivery of consistently predictable, accurate, and clear directions to the jury.
But probably the most important contribution that this bench book will make is towards ensuring the constitutional protection of the law the right to a fair trial to which every Jamaican is entitled.
The criminal bench book was developed by the government of Jamaica with funding provided by the United Kingdom Foreign and Commonwealth Office. And the Justice Ministry has embarked on an island-wide public education tour to raise awareness about human trafficking. Portfolio Minister Delroy Chuck says it will support the country's aim for Tier 1 ranking in the Trafficking in Persons report that's published by the United States Department of State. The country now has a Tier 2 ranking, which was upgraded last year from the Tier 2 watch list.
So yes, the Jamaican government is looking at all legislation to ensure that we have the framework to deter human trafficking. Now, certainly, wherever we see exploitation, then what we are going to do is to ensure that these cases are brought to court and they will be dealt with expeditiously.
The tour will continue during the next few weeks under the theme, Be Wise, Open Your Eyes, Spot Them, Stop Them, Report Them. And those were some of the stories making news this week. I'm Simone Wolf.
Our land has been suffering from immorality. The crime, the drugs, the bloodshed have only brought more sorrow.
We must change and give our children a brighter tomorrow. Let's renew our pledge to God as we work to heal our land and fellow man.
Let's join hands across Jamaica
for righteousness.
Let's join
hands across Jamaica
for righteousness.
Eternal Father,
Bless this Jamaica land. Let's join hands and hearts together and make Jamaica a land of love.
And that brings us to the end of today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. Join us again tomorrow. Until then, you can click online at gis.gov.jm and visit our YouTube channel to get the latest government information. Also, follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and to download our app from the Google Play Store and stay informed. I am Adrian Atkinson, reminding you to take care of your health, eat well, exercise, and make every day a productive one.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.